They had no leaders, no headquarters, no faces, and they brought governments and corporations to their knees. On the night of December 10, 2010, Visa.com went dark. Then MasterCard. Then PayPal. Millions of transactions failed across the planet. The attackers were not a government. They were not a military. They were thousands of ordinary people sitting in bedrooms and dorm rooms, firing a freely downloadable weapon called LOIC at some of the largest financial companies on Earth. They called themselves anonymous. Within 48 hours, the attacks had cost an estimated $5.5 million in damages. And this was only the beginning. Over the next 3 years, Anonymous would hack the FBI, humiliate a cybersecurity CEO, leak 5 million confidential emails, take down government websites across 3 continents, and become the most feared hacktivist collective in history. Their motto was simple: "We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us." Anonymous did not start as hackers. They started as trolls. In 2003, on an image board called 4chan, every unregistered user posted under the same default name, Anonymous. The board's culture was chaotic, offensive, and fiercely anti-authority. Users competed to shock each other with increasingly outrageous posts. Racism, absurdity, and genuine creativity existed side by side. There were no usernames, no profiles, no reputations to build. Every post stood or fell on its own merits. And out of that chaos, a strange kind of collective identity formed. If everyone was anonymous, then anonymous was everyone. Nobody was in charge. Nobody could be silenced. And nobody could be held individually responsible. The first coordinated actions were pranks. In 2006, hundreds of users flooded an online game called Habbo Hotel, blocking virtual swimming pools with identical black-suited avatars. They called it a pools closed protest. It was absurd. It was pointless. And it proved something powerful. Thousands of strangers could coordinate an action with zero leadership structure, no budget, and no formal communication channels. Then in January 2008, everything changed. The Church of Scientology pressured YouTube to remove an embarrassing Tom Cruise recruitment video. The video showed Cruise making grandiose claims about Scientology's power, and the church wanted it buried. Anonymous saw it as censorship, and they declared war. They called it Project Chanology. They launched DDoS attacks against Scientology websites. They sent black faxes to Scientology offices to drain their ink cartridges. They prank-called Scientology centers around the world. They ordered hundreds of pizzas delivered to Scientology headquarters. And then they did something no one expected. They showed up in person. On February 10, 2008, over 7,000 people in more than 100 cities across the globe marched outside Scientology buildings. They wore Guy Fawkes masks, the same mask from the film V for Vendetta. It was the first time Anonymous had a face. The mask concealed individual identities while broadcasting a collective one. And that face became a global symbol of digital resistance. From that point forward, Anonymous was no longer just an internet joke. It was a movement. By 2010, Anonymous had evolved from pranks to political warfare. Operation Payback started as an attack on anti-piracy organizations. The RIA, the MPAA, and law firms that sued individual file sharers all had their websites knocked offline. But in November 2010, WikiLeaks published 250,000 classified U.S. diplomatic cables. The U.S. government pressured financial companies to cut off WikiLeaks funding. Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal all froze WikiLeaks accounts. Anonymous responded immediately. They redirected Operation Payback against the financial giants. Using a tool called LOIC, the Low Orbit Ion Cannon, thousands of volunteers flooded Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal with traffic. Visa.com went down for roughly 2 hours. PayPal later testified in court that the attacks caused $5.6 million in damages. Then came the operation that made the cybersecurity world take notice. In February 2011, a security firm called HB Gary Federal made a fatal mistake. Its CEO, Aaron Barr, publicly claimed he had identified the leaders of Anonymous and planned to expose them at a conference. Anonymous took it as a challenge. Within 24 hours, they had breached Hungari's servers and stolen 71,000 internal emails. They wiped Aaron Barr's iPhone and iPad remotely. They defaced his Twitter account. They posted the stolen emails online, revealing that HB Gary had pitched the U.S. government on plans to discredit WikiLeaks supporters and journalists using fabricated documents and fake social media personas. The scandal destroyed the company. Aaron Barr resigned within weeks, and Anonymous had proven they were not just trolls. They were capable of real-world intelligence operations. In the spring of 2011, a small group split off from Anonymous and gave themselves a new name, Lulz SEC. Lulz Security. Their motto, laughing at your security since 2011. There were only 6 of them, and what followed was a 50-day hacking spree that shook the internet to its core. On June 2nd, Lulz SEC hacked Sony Pictures and stole the personal data of over 1 million user accounts. Sony had already been embarrassed by a massive PlayStation Network breach weeks earlier. This was salt in the wound. The total cost to Sony from both attacks was later estimated at $171 million. Lulz SEC breached PBS and posted a fake news article claiming the rapper Tupac Shakur was alive and living in New Zealand. They attacked the FBI's affiliate InfraGard. They took the CIA's public website offline with a DDoS attack. They publicly mocked the CIA on Twitter while the site was down. They hacked the Arizona Department of Public Safety and leaked hundreds of officers' personal emails, home addresses, and phone numbers in protest of Arizona's immigration enforcement laws. Lulz SEC did all of this publicly, brazenly, while live tweeting their exploits to a rapidly growing audience. When they disbanded on June 26, 2011, exactly 50 days after their first attack, they left behind a trail of breached databases, humiliated corporations, and an internet that felt genuinely unsafe. But the movement was far from over. The alliance between Lulz SEC and Anonymous spawned a broader campaign called Anti-SEC, short for anti-security. And in December 2011, they hit their biggest target yet. Stratfor, a private intelligence firm sometimes called a shadow CIA, got completely owned. Anonymous stole 5 million emails, 860,000 user accounts, and credit card information for thousands of subscribers. The stolen emails revealed Stratfor's intelligence relationships with corporations and government agencies. Then they did something uniquely anonymous. They used the stolen credit cards to donate approximately $700,000 to charities, including the Red Cross and Save the Children. Robin Hood hacking. But behind the scenes, the FBI was already closing in. The FBI had been watching much longer than anyone realized. On June 7, 2011, agents knocked on the door of a small apartment in New York City's Lower East Side. Inside was Hector Monsegur, known online as Sabu. He was the leader of Lulz SEC and one of the most active anonymous operators in the world. Monsegur was a 28-year-old unemployed father of 2, living in public housing. The FBI gave him a choice: cooperate or face 124 years in federal prison. He chose to cooperate. For the next 8 months, Sabu continued running anonymous operations while secretly reporting everything to the FBI. He logged into chat rooms wearing a wire. He encouraged other hackers to launch attacks, including the Stratfor breach, while federal agents recorded every keystroke. On March 6, 2012, the trap closed. The FBI arrested 5 key anonymous members simultaneously across 2 countries. Jake Davis, the 18-year-old known as Topiary, the voice and public face of Lulz SEC, arrested in the Shetland Islands. Ryan Cleary, 19, arrested in Essex, England. Mustafa Al-Bassam, just 16, arrested in London. Jeremy Hammond, the Stratfor hacker, arrested in Chicago after Sabu had personally encouraged the attack and provided the server to store the stolen data. Hammond received the maximum sentence, 10 years in federal prison. Sabu received time served, just 7 months, for his cooperation. The betrayal shattered Anonymous from the inside. Trust, the one thing that held a leaderless movement together, was gone. But Anonymous did not die. It cannot die, because Anonymous was never a group. It was an idea. After the arrests, new waves of participants picked up the banner. In 2015, after the Charlie Hebdo shooting in Paris, Anonymous declared war on ISIS. They identified and reported over 20,000 ISIS-linked Twitter accounts. They disrupted recruiting operations. They leaked the personal information of suspected ISIS supporters online. In 2020, during the George Floyd protests, Anonymous resurfaced again. They targeted the Minneapolis Police Department, hacking city websites and leaking officer data. They took down the City of Minneapolis website. The Guy Fawkes mask appeared at protests worldwide. Over 100 people were arrested worldwide in connection with anonymous operations between 2011 and 2015. Jeremy Hammond served his full sentence. Hector Monsegur was freed and later became a cybersecurity consultant. Barrett Brown, the journalist who served as an unofficial spokesperson, was sentenced to 63 months in prison. The legacy of Anonymous is complicated. They exposed genuine corruption. They fought censorship. They defended whistleblowers. But they also stole personal data from millions of innocent people. They caused tens of millions of dollars in damages to companies that had done nothing wrong. And the same tools they used for activism could be, and were, used for revenge, harassment, and chaos. What Anonymous proved, more than anything, is that the internet had created something entirely new. A decentralized, leaderless, borderless force that no government or corporation could fully contain. For better or worse, Anonymous showed the world what collective digital power looks like. And that lesson has not been forgotten. If you found this investigation compelling, subscribe to Cyber Decoded. Next time, we are decoding the most dangerous social engineering attacks ever documented.